News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Erica Herskowitz. A renewed wave of dip buying lifted stocks after last week's sell-off, with traders sifting through solid earnings amid bets the Fed will cut interest rates soon. The new week on Wall Street begins with a winning session. The Dow gained 585 points. The Nasdaq rose 403, ahead nearly 2%. The S&P added 92. The 10-year Treasury yield is at 4.19%. The 2-year Treasury yield is at 3.69%. India says it will take the necessary measures to safeguard its interests and that the targeting of the country is unjustified and unreasonable. The response comes after President Trump said he will be substantially raising the tariff on Indian exports to the U.S. over New Delhi's purchases of Russian oil, which could go into effect on Friday, ramping up his threat to target a major trading partner. Bloomberg intelligence analyst Nathan Dean.
This sort of takes the wind out of Senator Graham's bill on tariffs. Senator Graham had a bill on sanctioning Russia, for example, that would give the president authority to move up to 500% tariffs on any country that buys Russian oil, so India, China, and Turkey. But if President Trump is coming out here and saying, look, I'm going to do this anyway, it sort of just makes the bill moot.
Hear more from Nathan Dean on the Bloomberg Intelligence podcast. Trump's post didn't specify how much he would raise the levy by. Trump last week announced a 25% rate on Indian exports, shocking New Delhi after months of negotiations failed to secure a breakthrough. He also threatened more action if India continued to buy oil from Russia. U.S. Ambassador to NATO Matthew Whitaker says President Trump is creating an environment where Russia will come to the table and negotiate a ceasefire with Ukraine.
This is going to really hit them where it counts, and that is in their main revenue source, which is the sale of oil to these countries. And so President Trump, is playing this card, if Russia can't negotiate a ceasefire. But at the same time, Russia just needs to end this war.
Hear more from Matthew Whitaker on the Bloomberg Balance of Power podcast. Meanwhile, Switzerland says it's ready to make a more attractive offer to the U.S. days after President Trump shocked the nation with a 39% tariff rate while it was on a national holiday. Texas Governor Greg Abbott is threatening to seek the expulsion of Democratic lawmakers who left the state to block a controversial vote on new congressional maps. The Democrats say they'd like to see him try. Republican lawmakers proposed a redistricting plan last week that Democrats describe as a gerrymander designed to give more seats in the U.S. Congress to the GOP. Abbott tells Fox News he thinks Democrats who left the state to deny Republicans the vote have forfeited their seats. Abbott also denied allegations that his redistricting is racist.
The district lines will solidify the Barbara Jordan African-American district in the Houston area, and it will add 4 new Hispanic districts. Since we last did redistricting, there's been a court decision came out and said that it's perfectly legal to dismantle coalition districts.
Over the weekend, the Democrats fled to a number of blue states, including New York. Speaking from Albany, Texas State Representative Mihaela Plesa called on Democratic lawmakers from all 50 states to take a stand against Republican-led efforts to redistribute power.
This cannot be allowed to stand. The playing field has changed, not just for Democrats, but all Americans. And it's time to meet them on the new field.
Texas State Representative Mihaela Plesa speaking alongside New York Governor Kathy Hochul this morning. By fleeing, Democrats will leave the Texas state legislature short of the minimum number of lawmakers required to hold votes and will be fined $500 a day. A deal's a deal. That's what Tesla's board is saying after approving a $30 billion interim stock award for CEO Elon Musk. Max Chafkin covers Tesla for Bloomberg News and says the reason for this is twofold.
Tesla shareholders did try to give him a giant pay package, which was voided by the Delaware courts. So the board is kind of saying, hey, this is a make good on that. In case the courts don't uphold this pay package, here's $30 billion. The other thing is that Elon Musk has been threatening to start a political party. These threats to start a political party have not been good for the stock, but a lot of shareholders feel like if only we just give him a little more money, maybe he'll be incentivized to not do that. And that's kind of the case here.
Bloomberg's Max Chafkin reporting Tesla shares closed more than 2% higher. Boeing shares were up a fraction as the plane maker faces its first defense factory workers strike in nearly 30 years. Benedict Camel heads aviation coverage for Bloomberg News.
It was a bit of a surprise. We came into this a week ago. There were preliminary conversations between management and the unions, and then we thought that they might use the week that just ended to get over that hump, and that clearly has not happened.
Bloomberg's Benedict Kamel reports Boeing CEO Kelly Ortberg downplayed the fallout of a possible strike in last week's earnings call. He noted the defense union in St. Louis is about a tenth of the size of the playmakers union that went on strike last fall and ground production to a halt. That's news when you want it. With Bloomberg News Now, I'm Erica Herskowitz, and this is Bloomberg.